Does your center have an emergency readiness plan? My name is Capucine Sams. I am a student at Chattahoochee Technical College. I am taking the summer course Health, Safety, and Nutrition, ECE 1105. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can get prepared in case there's a natural disaster, a chemical spill, a threat to your daycare center, or even if there's a fire or tornado. You can look this information up by visiting the Federal Emergency Management website. It's www.fema.gov. Now, some of these disasters might not ever happen. You might not experience an earthquake. You might not experience a wildfire. You might not even experience a tornado during the time that you have your center. But the best thing to do is get your staff and your students ready in case it happens. The very first thing to do is to make sure that you have all of your emergency numbers next to your telephone. You also have to determine how are you going to communicate to your staff that there is an emergency on the premises. You also have to make sure that the staff have those numbers inside of their classrooms so they will have the information as well. Our universal emergency number is 911. It's also imperative that we have poison control and numbers as such. And like I stated, communication is key. Are you going to communicate through cell phones? Are you going to communicate through walkie-talkies? Are you going to communicate through overhead or an alarm system? You have to make sure that everyone in the building knows how you're going to communicate in case there is an emergency. The second thing to do is figure out how you are going to handle evacuations, shelters in place, or even a lockdown. Have guidelines in place or best practices to figure out how you and your staff is going to handle these situations in the event that they happen. Make sure you have alternate escape routes. And if you have to escape out of the building in case there's a fire or something has happened within the building, then you have to make sure that you are at least 1 mile away from your building. Determine where that safe spot or that meeting spot is going to be, and make sure that your staff knows. Also, determine how you are going to communicate to the parents that there has been an emergency in the building, and make sure that your parents know up front that this is how they're going to be notified in the event that something takes place. Make sure that you have first aid bags for each classroom, and make sure that you also have an emergency preparedness bag, whether it's blankets in case the power goes out, flashlights, even flares if you might need it. Like I stated, FEMA will help you determine what you're going to need in your building and in your emergency kit. Also, make sure you have guidelines that are in place. Currently, we are in the middle of a pandemic still, and the kids are getting ready to go back to school. And we know when the older brothers and sisters go back to school, they oftentimes get influenza, things like that, norovirus, and they pass it on to their siblings who are at the center. So make sure you have guidelines in place to let the parents know in case this breaks out in the center, what their next move is going to be. Our Bright from the Start website, decal.ga.gov, also has a plethora of information on our most common drills, which are fire drills and tornado drills. Tornado drills, of course, will come around the time that tornado season is here. So we're currently in the middle of that, is summertime. So you'll have a tornado drill every 6 months. And then for your fire drills, Georgia requires you to have fire drills at least monthly. if not twice a month. So if you and your staff have these drills down to a science along with the kids, in the event that there is an emergency, they will be conducted effectively and efficiently and without anyone panicking. So like I stated, the website that you can refer to help you get your emergency management preparedness information is FEMA.gov. And then you can also refer to decal.ga.gov. Make sure your center is emergency ready.